Hey, cheers, everybody. Welcome back to Good Bets, Good Times. This is the football betting show built for all my fellow D-Gens and weekend warriors who want win a little more, lose a little less, and have a good damn time doing it. I am Nate Tuttle of NT Sports. Thank you for stopping by. Today's episode, we roll on with college football preview season. And next up, we got a big one. The SEC, the conference that might have a little chip on its shoulder heading into this season after they have sat back and watched the Big Ten win 3 straight national titles after 20 years of dominance. And to their credit, they moved to 9 conference games this year. Harder schedules, more losses in the conference. Could be a little messier path to the playoff for some of these teams. Could we see a 9-3 team finally squeak into the playoff? Probably going to happen. But yeah, we'll walk through the top 5 betting favorites to win this conference. One of which I do have a play on. And then, of course, I got a dark horse play. Somebody that's outside of the top 5. Not very far outside of the top 5, to be honest with you. But so 2 bets on the board I actually like. And surprisingly, I don't have any win totals that I've played yet in the SEC. I think it's the only conference where I have not placed 1 win total bet so far. And we'll talk through that, get into why here in a second. But before we do that, if you are watching along on YouTube and you are digging the show, feel free to give us a like, a comment, and subscribe to catch all the new episodes as they drop. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, a follow, a rating, or a review would all be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. And let's get into it. So without further ado, grab your favorite beverage, kick back, and let's talk some ball.
I love guys who like football. And guys who like football, they like me back. And I like them back.
Kicking it off, we'll start at the top. The current consensus favorite, depending on where you look, I do see some books that are flip-flopped here. But for the most part, the consensus favorite, we'll start with Texas. About plus 300 odds today. The Texas Longhorns, 25% implied odds to win this conference. 9.5 is the win total. Juice to the under at minus 130. Do have a strong lean to the under. I want to wait for a better price. We'll walk through why here in a second, but I was very close to placing this bet. I want to get better than minus 130. I don't know if it's going to come back. But I see Texas as a 9-win team this year. We project 9.2. So not, as I mentioned, not a minus 130, not really much of an edge there. So want to try to get a better price. I don't know if we'll get it. And we're also passing the Longhorns to win this conference. Similar to what I said last year, still don't fully trust Steve Sarkisian and all the hype around Arch Manning. So he had a great end of the season last year. From November on, had the highest QBR in the nation. Played very well down the stretch, improved throughout the season. Give him the credit. That's outstanding. But this year, they let's look at the schedule. Start off the season, Texas State. Then they get Ohio State at home. Can Arch Manning, they are at home, but can Arch Manning figure out this Matt Patricia defense that he struggled with a lot last year in that first game? We'll see. UTSA, cool. They got to go to Tennessee. That's Tennessee's 4th game of the year. So I know they're trying to work out their QB situation there. Probably a 7-8 win team next year, but hey, going to Neyland Stadium, going to Knoxville, it's a big ask. Arch struggled on the road last year. All 3 of their losses came on the road during the regular season. And they had a couple very close calls. So all 5 road games, they either lost or just barely squeaked by. So they go to Tennessee, get the bye week. Oklahoma, which we'll talk about here in a second as well. It's at the Cotton Bowl. Come back home to play Florida, which up-and-coming team. Lost to him last year. Can John Summerall and the Gators come into Austin and steal one there? Ole Miss at home the next week, so that Florida game might be a look-ahead spot to the big Ole Miss game right after that. Trinidad Chambliss and company coming into town. And then Mississippi State. So we got 3 straight road games, or 3 straight home games following Oklahoma. Then they finish up 3 out of the last 4 games of the season are on the road. So that's at Mizzou, at LSU, back home. They'll probably beat the shit out of Arkansas. And then 6 days later, they go to Texas A&M. So to me, I see 3 losses on this schedule. Maybe they figure out a way to beat Ohio State at home. But going to Death Valley mid-November against LSU, a totally rebuilt LSU team under Lane Kiffin, that could be a tricky spot. A&M, last game of the season on a short week. 27, that's a Friday night game. Well, Friday game. I don't know what time, but Friday game. And Oklahoma. There's at least 5 losable, very losable games on this schedule. Ole Miss is going to have a much better defense. Can he outduel Trinidad Chambliss, even though it isn't home? I don't think it's happening. Last year, my thoughts were this. They played Ohio State week 1. They went into the season, number 1 team in the country. Ohio State's coming off a national championship. And I said, hey, Texas, if you want that number 1 spot, you need to come into Columbus and you need to take it. They did not. Proceeded to go 9-3. Did get a nice win over Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. Kudos. Appreciate that. But same story this year. I like Arch. It's nothing against him. It's the fact that he is maybe a little overhyped. He's a really good quarterback. But this is the SEC. This might be, depending on where you look, this might be the most difficult schedule in the country this year. And that stretch at the end of the season, there's 3 out of 4 on the road. At Missouri is not a gimme. And definitely not LSU and Texas A&M. So, hey, I think 9 wins is the most likely scenario. Now, depending on those losses, can 9 wins get them into the playoff? I think this year it could. With that schedule, let's say they lose to Oklahoma State, or no, they lose to Ohio State, Oklahoma in the rivalry game, and then they trip up into the year, LSU or Texas A&M. Hey, they'll still have some quality wins over Ole Miss. They can go on the road and beat Tennessee and LSU. Hey, probably going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They do play the nine conference games this year. Strategy by the SEC to beef up the conference schedules and have a stronger case for a 9-win team getting in the playoff. But this team hit the portal hard. That's the number 3 transfer class in the entire nation. Top 5 in recruiting average, number 4 in projected NFL draft picks. They brought in Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers to play running back. Cam Coleman, we know. Arguably the number 1 receiving core in the entire country, up there with Ohio State and Miami. A top 10 defense last year. They bring in Wilt Muschamp to coordinate this defense. Brought in Rasheed Biles from Pitt to play linebacker. D-line's going to be excellent. So this is a good team. I'm going to give them that. It's just with the schedule, with Arch still needing to prove that even though he played well down the stretch, can he win these big games this year against some very highly ranked teams that he's going to be playing? We'll see. I lean under 9.5. Pass on the conference championship game at the number. Don't think plus 300 is very good odds for this team. So that's a pass on Texas. Moving on, Georgia Bulldogs. Back-to-back SEC championships here. They're currently plus 310 to win this conference. That's 24.39% implied odds. Basically a 1 in 4 chance to win this conference. That's a plus 310. So we're looking at the odds board now. Best line and where I just bet this is plus 320, which is still hanging around out there. There's one book that I'm seeing that has a plus 320. I bet that. I bet a full unit on the plus 320. And I'll talk through the reason why. Also, just win total quickly, 9.5. Heavily juiced to the over, around minus 175. Definitely would be an overplay. I'm not paying that price, though. Project 9.8. So would need a little bit cheaper than 9.5 to make that a bet. But this team, man, you got Kirby Smart coming back for his 10th season. This is a record 117-21 in 10 seasons at Georgia. Insane. Multiple national championships. Bring Mike Bobo back, offensive coordinator. Bring back their defense coordinator. Just continuity all across the board. Bring back 14 starters, 8 on defense. Plus, they brought in an experienced transfer, Gunnar Stockton, second full year at the quarterback position. Leading running back or leading rusher from last year, Nate Frazier, back as well. They did lose a lot in the receiving core. Zachariah Branch, Colby Young, Oscar Delp, tight end, all gone to the NFL. Bring back senior tight end Lawson Lucky, Georgia Tech wide receiver transfer, high upside player in Isaiah Canyon. And they have young talent. They have a lot of young, up-and-coming, high potential wide receivers in their program. And these guys are going to have to step up this year and make an impact. The one thing the offense lacked last year is a very efficient offense. Ball control, don't make mistakes, run the football, short, quick throws. Super, super efficient, but they lacked explosiveness, which probably fine getting them through an SEC season, so I'm not worried about that. That's a negative, but I think with the schedule, just playing great defense, ball control offense, efficient offense is going to get them right back to the SEC championship game. Now, that could come into play in the playoffs, as we've seen the past 2 years. But we're not talking about national championship odds today. We're talking about SEC championship odds. Love this team to make it to the championship game. And then at that point, plus 320. You got a plus 320 on Georgia going to a championship game. You're sitting good. I still think most likely they win it. I don't know who makes the championship game that's going to be able to beat them. Maybe Texas. Maybe I'm underrating Texas. Maybe it will be Texas and Arch comes in. Maybe Ole Miss is back. Or maybe it's a team like Oklahoma. We will see. But love the Georgia Bulldogs. Love their schedule too. Start off 3-0. Tennessee State, Western Kentucky, at Arkansas. Team I have in the bottom of the SEC. You get Oklahoma. Oklahoma's at home. Got Vandy at home. Big game at Alabama this year. Ooh, that's a tricky spot. Not very high in Alabama. Auburn at home. New revamped Auburn team. Then the bye. Neutral site game against Florida. That should be winnable. They do have to go to Ole Miss. Just interesting. Rematch of the playoffs last year. Missouri at South Carolina in the big rivalry game against a Georgia Tech team who will be down a little bit this year. Should win. So worst case, they go 10-2. 10-2 gets them in the championship game. I don't see anyone else in this conference topping that record, to be honest with you. So pushing the chips in on the Bulldogs. 3 in a row. 3 in a row. Can they do it? This is the best team, best roster, best continuity, best coach in the entire SEC. At plus 320, I think that's a bargain. Next up, this is where it gets a little tricky. We got, depending on where you're looking, I have Alabama at number 3 here. And LSU's next. No particular order. We'll just talk about Bama first because I got them here. But they're anywhere from plus 850 is the consensus. There's one book at plus 900. And, Bama did win a playoff game last year. That comeback against Oklahoma. Then got smoked 38-3 against Indiana in the second round of the playoffs. Win total's 8.5. Pretty much plus money, maybe slight juice to one side or the other at some books, but it seems like the market can't really pick a side either way on this. I project 8.3, so I do lean the under. This might be a bet I may get on at plus money for them to win 8 games. They haven't won less than 9 games in a very long time. So this would be an unprecedented season for the Crimson Tide. But Kalen DeBoer enters his 3rd year. He's 20-8 overall. 2nd year OC Ryan Grubb. Kane Womack at DC. Finished 10-2 last year, 11-4 overall. SEC runner-up. Did beat Georgia during the regular season, lost to them in the playoffs. Talked about Oklahoma. 2 losses last year, 1 at home versus Oklahoma, and they got smacked week 1. Remember last year we thought Florida State was the team coming in, and well, that was at home. They just put a whooping on Alabama at home. But this comes down to the quarterback situation for me. And the offense in general. Lost Ty Simpson, number 1 draft pick last year, or first-round draft pick last year to the Rams. And they have a QB battle between Austin Mack, a veteran junior quarterback, and then redshirt freshman Keelan Russell, who is a guy that's highly touted, could be great. But I'm assuming if they were that confident in Keelan Russell, this wouldn't be a battle. The board would have named the starting quarterback by now. So that's interesting to me. And the running game was one of the worst running games Alabama's had. Averaged 3.4 yards per carry last year. It's just terrible in the playoffs. Solely relied on Ty Simpson and this defense to bail him out and win games. Did return junior running back Daniel Hill, sophomore running back, and then a 5-star EJ Crowd comes in as well. Maybe he can give him some juice. Receiving Gore's solid. Junior Ryan Williams had a down year last year. A couple sophomore wide receivers. Did lose Jeremy Bernard, and Isaiah Horton transferred out. And the O-line too. Lost 6 O-linemen. 2 starters, including Caden Proctor to the NFL. And all 5 new starters. Multiple transfers on this offensive line. So they got to get better in the trenches. D-line brings in 3 new transfers. They're trying to get bigger, more physical on the D-line. And outside of the secondary, which is full of NFL talent, All-Americans, it's going to come down to Alabama, 1, having consistency at quarterback, and then being able to run the football. Defense is going to be good, really good. But can they run the ball? And can they survive this SEC schedule that's put in front of them here? Which isn't terrible by any means. So East Carolina, go into Kentucky. Kentucky team in transition. Could be tricky. We'll see. Kentucky investing some money into their roster. Rematch against Florida State at home. Should be a win. South Carolina at home. See what South Carolina is this year. At Mississippi State. So most likely starting out 5-0, bringing Georgia coming into town. Even at home, I really don't see them beating the Bulldogs. Then they have to go at Tennessee the week later. Another potential loss. A&M at home. Bye week. Then they go to Death Valley, play LSU. At Vandy. Got Chattanooga in late November, and then they finish up in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. Auburn at home. So looking at the schedule, it's tough to say I'm confident in going under 8 wins. I think the number's spot on. Because if they do good quarterback play with this defense, they could win 9 wins, no matter how much the running game improves. But regardless, at plus 850, it's a pass on Alabama. I don't see them getting back to the championship game. I think this is a max 9-win team. Most likely scenario, 9-win team. They'll win all their out-of-conference games, probably drop 2 or 3 SEC games this year. So, we're out on the Crimson Tide. Next up, LSU. Now, this is a very, very interesting team. We know the drama from last year. Lane Kiffin taking the job, leaving Ole Miss right as they're about to start a playoff run. And, folks, one of the most talked about, probably one of the biggest games of the entire college football season, September 19th, Lane Kiffin returns to Ole Miss. That's must-see TV. 100%. And I don't think he wins that game. I don't think this LSU team in their third game, if that game was later in the season, this team had more time to gel and come together, and all these transfers, this whole new rebuilt roster. Because they start the season against Clemson. Clemson at home. I think Clemson's going to be better this year. I think they're getting a little bit overlooked. La Tech, and then Ole Miss. And then Texas A&M the following week. Back at home. So for a team that is completely rebuilt, new coach, new quarterback, pretty much new roster, full of transfers. To have three of your toughest games of the season right off the bat, that's not easy. Prefer a little easier front stretch coming out of the gate there, but that's not the case. Then they get McNeese at Kentucky, Mississippi State. Got to go to Auburn, bye week. Bama and Texas at home back-to-back, and then go to Tennessee. So LSU's plus 850 to win this conference. Over-under is sitting at 8.5, minus 110 both ways. So I mean, we project them right at 8.5 too. Maybe a little bit of value if you get plus money on the under, but it's not a bet I would make. Once again, probably a 9-win team, maybe 10 wins if they overachieve. But Lane Kiffin comes in, number 1 transfer portal class. Blake Baker's back coordinating this defense, highest paid college football assistant, and deservedly so. We know they brought in Sam Levitt coming off foot surgery last November, so that could be tricky, assuming he's going to be fully healthy. But, does go from playing at Arizona State to the Big 12, coming over to the SEC in this gauntlet of a schedule. As far as the units go, I mean, running back, rated around 5th, 6th in the conference. Receiving core, about 5th, 6th in the conference. O-line, 6th, 7th in the conference. So, there's some talent there. Brought in left tackle Jordan Seaton from Colorado. Big get in the portal. Defense, though, huge get from Ole Miss. Edge rusher, Prince Will Uman-Malin. With weeks back, brought another linebacker from Ole Miss. Decent secondary. I think linebacker will be the unit that excels in this defense. So, good team. I think they're slightly overvalued at this point, given the schedule, this whole new roster that's coming in here. So, also, we are out on the LSU Tigers. Next up, the Texas A&M Aggies, sitting at plus 850 also, depending on where you look around. There's a plus 1,000 sitting out there as well. That's the best available. Consensus is mostly plus 850, goes all the way down to plus 800. So also same tier, sitting in this Alabama LSU tier. I think A&M's the best of the three, to be honest with you. So when I put together this prep, they were at 850. I just now seeing this plus 1,000 out there, which is not too bad. Not too bad. Same thing at the win total, sitting at 8.5. I have them right about 8.5. So pretty much even money both ways as well. So another team where the market can't decide really where it wants to go. 8 wins, 9 wins. It's 11-win team from last year. Mike Elko enters his 3rd year. He's 19-7 so far at Texas A&M. They did have to replace both coordinators. OC Colin Klein went out to Kansas State, lost to DC as well. And only lost last year, last game of the season. Had to go to Texas. And, 4-1 in one-score games last year. Got Marcel Reed coming back to play quarterback. Junior quarterback. This will be his 2nd full year as a starter for this team. Very talented guy. Dynamic. Very inconsistent and turnover prone. Running back room, pretty mediocre. Returned Ruben Owens and Jamarian Morrow. Wide receiving core, they lost Casey Concepcion, but returned Mario Craver. Brought in Isaiah Horton from Alabama. And so very good 2nd, 3rd receiving core in the entire conference. That's going to help Marcel Reed. O-line, top 5 O-line in the conference. Lost 4 starters, but they returned their senior center, and they brought in 4 transfer starters from other SEC programs. So pretty significant. Defense under Elko's always going to be solid. Lost 3D linemen to the NFL. Linebacking core, probably the weakness of this defense, though they bring in all AAC transfer Ray Coney from Tulsa to play linebacker. Return senior starter, and then secondary, top 5 in the league. Return both starting safeties. Upgraded a kicker as well. And let's not forget about special teams. Definitely needed to improve a kicker. But overall, it's plus 1,000. A&M's a team I got to be out on. They basically had to rebuild their entire offensive line, the majority of their defensive line. It's hard to trust Marcel Reed in big games. Maybe he improves. Maybe he takes the next step. Maybe he decreases the amount of mistakes and turnover. I will see. But they also lost both coordinators too, so it could be significant. Like Mike Elko, like him a lot. Love this A&M team, but got to pass on this number here. Schedule's not great. Missouri State got Arizona State coming to town, Kentucky at home. So first 3 games at home, all 3 winnable. Then they got to go to LSU, as we talked about. Could they catch LSU early? Still kind of putting things together down there. Arkansas at home, another winnable game. Should go on the road. Should beat Missouri. Citadel, FCS sprinkled in there. Got to go to Bama, bye at South Carolina. Tennessee at home. This last stretch here, Tennessee at home, and then they got to go to Oklahoma, and they finish up at Texas in the rivalry game. So not a terrible schedule. Still, just one of those teams where we're talking about conference odds. The team got to pass on it at the 850 up to the plus 1,000. Value is just not there with A&M. Now, one more team left to discuss here, and that is the Oklahoma Sooners. My dark horse team to win the SEC this year. And to be honest, I'm surprised. It seems like the market's down in Oklahoma after the season they had last year. Yes, they did blow that playoff game against Alabama. No excuses for that. But Tier was banged up most of the season. He should be back and healthy. You got to think this offense is going to get better, right? Brett Venables is entering his 5th year. He's 32-20 overall. Got Ben Arbuckle, the OC, in year 2. Pair him up with John Mateer, healthy John Mateer, improving this offense. Running game has to improve. They got to rush but more than 3.45 yards per carry this year. Bring back both their top rushers. Sophomore Torrey Blaylock, junior Xavier Robinson. Receiving core is going to be solid. They did lose 2 or 3 of their top 4 receivers, but that overall that they improved. They have a top 5 receiving core here. They returned their leading receiver, Isaiah Satania. Brought in a Texas transfer, Parker Livingston, and then guy from Virginia, all ACC, number 1 receiver from Virginia, Trail Harris. Got a couple really solid tight end transfers. Hayden Hansen, senior from Florida, and then Rocky Beers from Colorado State, one of my favorite names this year in college football. O-line's going to be solid. They lost 3 starters, but return 5 guys, including two starters from last year, bringing in a couple of veteran starters from Arkansas and Western Kentucky to fill the gaps there. Top 5 O-line in the SEC. Defense is going to be back. They're going to be nasty once again this year. D-line just has more dudes. Top D-line in the conference. Linebacking core will be back. Secondary, return both starting corners. Starting safety. Top 3 secondary. Special teams, return All-American kicker Tate Sandell, which would be huge. And I bet this, plus 1,300, small bet. Sprinkle a quarter unit, half unit on plus 1,300 for this team to make a run. Because I think the market's down on Oklahoma. They have the defense. Offense wasn't great, but you give John Mateer another year in the SEC, if he can stay healthy, I think 1,300 is a pretty fair price overall. Win total to 7.5. That's I do lean over. Just going to depend on the price there. Minus 110, pretty fair juice. But to me, I could be dead wrong, and that's why I would much rather throw out the flyer in the plus 1,300. I don't see any value on the win total, just at the number. And the schedule's tough. The schedule's tough too. This is not easy by any means. Start off at UTEP, cool, W. Got the rematch. Got to go to Michigan this year. Still, with this defense, they should be able to take care of Bryce Underwood at the big house. Tricky spot coming back home against New Mexico, which is a tough team. Should win it, but still. Jason X crew comes to town off the Michigan game, sandwiched between Michigan and Georgia because they got to go to Georgia next. So Michigan and Georgia on the road, first 4 games, then the bye, then Texas. So 3 of their first 5 games are very difficult. Obviously, the Texas game is at the Cotton Bowl, neutral site. And Kentucky at Mississippi State, South Carolina at Florida. Ole Miss and A&M back-to-back at home, both winnable games. And finish up at Missouri. So if they can get through that gauntlet, maybe they lose 1. Maybe they slip up either, probably go to lose to Georgia. Maybe Texas gets them. But the backstretch, they get through that first 5 games, they're 4-1. Maybe they slip up. Maybe Ole Miss or A&M. Maybe Florida's much improved. Florida gets them on the road. But hey, the path is there. You just got to trust this defense. You got to think Ben Arbuckle in year 2 is going to get Mateer in this running game going. Mateer's going to have more confidence. He's a dog. He's the kind of guy that I think when he's fully healthy, playing 100%, is going to win this team ball games. So love the Sooners here. We got it plus 1,300 as our dark horse flyer in the SEC. Cool. Let's run through the rest of the conference. Do a little rapid fire here. A team we didn't mention, Ole Miss. So they're sitting right outside the top 5 at plus 1,100 consensus, sitting around plus 1,000. And I do love Ole Miss. If they're a price where Oklahoma is a little bit higher, maybe we throw a flyer on Ole Miss. You have to, right? Pete Golden takes over full time, went into the portal, brought in defensive talent, really put a focus on the defense this year. They got Chambliss back, Keywan Lacey back. Think they can make a run, get back to the playoff. But to win this conference, to be honest, I think they're one of the 2 or 3 teams that could challenge Texas, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. Probably the 3 teams I believe could challenge Georgia for the title. But we're gonna pass on Ole Miss. Same thing with the win total over, sitting at 7.5, heavily juiced to the over. Do like the over 7.5, but at minus 155, it's got to be a pass. We project 7.7. Tennessee plus 2,000 to win this conference. Over under sitting at 7.5. We project 7.5. Spot on. They do have a very favorable schedule. Tennessee has one of the best schedules in the SEC. I think they'll win. They should win 8+. But it's going to come down to the QB competition. That's between George McIntyre and true freshman Faison Brandon. So if we're talking about a team who's a solid bowl team, could make a run of 8-9 wins, given the schedule, cool to win this conference. Nah, not a 20-1. Florida, the John Sumrall era begins. Also brought in Buster Faulkner as the OC. He brings with him Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech. Also have Tramel Jones competing for that starting job. And numbers right on. I think 22-1's fair. This team, the win total sitting at 7.5, minus 130 to the under. I project 7.3. So that number's spot on. No value there. I think they can win 7-8 games. I think Summerall's going to bring this Florida Gators team back. This is going to be a transition year, but hey, Florida should be bowling. It's going to be exciting to see over the next few years what Summerall can do down there. Missouri 35-1, win total sitting at 6.5, minus 110 to the over. We project 6.6, slight value to the over, but also not any value on Missouri, which seems to be the case across the board. I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that I don't have any win totals in the SEC, which is interesting. Just going to wait. Got 36 days before the season kicks off, and then maybe some in-season totals. But as of right now, there's nothing, no value that's popping out at me at any of these win totals. Missouri's the same way. Eli Drinkwitz brings in Austin Simmons, who lost his starting job after injury, and then the way Trinidad Chambliss played, it just never gave that starting job back. Do bring back Ahmad Hardy, should be healthy, coming off his gunshot wound in the offseason. Should be back ready to go. And lost 11 starters on defense. That's never ideal. But Mizzou, solid team. Drinkwitz running a solid program here. 6-7 wins. but 35 to 1 to win the conference. No, thank you. Auburn, interesting team. This is one where I went back and forth. Maybe 40 to 1. Maybe we throw a flyer on Auburn. Win total spot on 6.5. Juice to the over at minus 115. We project 6.7. Slight minute value on the over there. Alex Galesh era brings Byron Brown along with him from USF. Plus a ton of transfers, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Very intriguing team. I like Galesh. I like what he can do at Auburn. Could be a team that surprises. Byron Brown's dynamic. This is a team that lost a ton of games by one score last year. Poised for improvement. So 41, could be a team you throw a flyer on if you want a true dark horse. I know I went pretty conservative at plus 1,300, not my typical dark horse, not the 30 to 1 on TCU we have or the 28 to 1 on Virginia Tech, but 41, that's right in the ballpark. Maybe we need to sprinkle a little bit on, see if Auburn can make a run. South Carolina, 55 to 1. Win total 6.5, minus 137 to the under. We project 6.8. Slight value on the over if you can get it. I think there's some plus money out there to this over. Plus 115. Yeah. Could this team win 7 games? Very likely. I think at plus money of the over, this is the best value that I do have on a team here. But still a lot of questions. Lenora Sellers is back. New OC, Kendall Briles. O-line just awful. Sellers is running for his life. He does have weapons. And the question is, can Kendall Briles come in and with his offense kind of scheme up some things to allow Sellers to be more dynamic, run a little bit more, quick throws, keep him from getting killed behind this O-line? Maybe the O-line improves too. South Carolina's going to be a feisty team, bowl team for sure. I think they win at least 6. Good shot they get to 7. It's a team I would not want to go play down in Columbia. Vanderbilt, 100 to 1 here to win this conference. Win totals at 5.5. 142 to the over. We project 6.2. Dueling over there as well. Just a little pricey. And a team that's coming off a great year. Lost Diego Pavia, though. Starting a true freshman quarterback, Jared Curtis. That's very intriguing. Don't want to bet against Clark Lee. I know that. He's brought a winning culture to Vandy. Jared Curtis could pop even as a freshman. This team could surprise. I could see them getting 6 wins and hitting the bowl game, but that's probably the ceiling there. Just don't have the full roster talent behind a freshman quarterback to really make a run in this conference. Kentucky's another interesting team. Will Stein comes in, former OC from Oregon, brings in a former Notre Dame quarterback, Kenny Minchie. Number 11 transfer portal class. And they spent some money on transfers this year. Win totals at 4.5, minus 125 to the over. I have this at 4.6. So price, I got to be off it due to the price, but I do lean over here. I think Kentucky's a team that could surprise with the amount of talent they brought in. Got a solid quarterback prospect, Will Stein, an OC guy or offensive guy. Kentucky's never an easy place to play. Could pull some upsets. I think 5 wins attainable. 6, maybe if they really overachieve, make a bowl game here. Most likely scenario, 4 to 5 wins. Mississippi State, 201 win total, 4.5, minus 127 to the over. We project 4.6, same thing. No value there. I think this was 5.5 earlier in the year. This number has dropped. So would have loved to got a 5.5 here, but missed out on that. Jeff Lebby could be on the hot seat here too as well. Really needs to get this team to a bowl win. At least see some improvement. They won 5 games last year. Can they top that? I highly doubt it. Tough schedule. Sophomore QB Kamario Taylor, and defense has to improve under Zach Arnett as well. But yeah, 200 to 1 on Mississippi State. This team most likely wins 4 or 5 games as well, maybe less. Last but not least, the bottom of the conference. Arkansas Razorbacks, 250 to 1. Win totals of 4.5, minus 170 to the under. Heavily juiced the under. Do lean strongly to the under here, still minus 170. We'll need a much better number to bet this under. But yeah, this is a 3-4 win team. Not a big fan of Ryan Silverfield. I don't think this is going to be a good fit coming in from Memphis. They did have one of the top offenses in the country last year, but that was a completely different team. Bobby Petrino and Talon Green both gone. Green to the NFL. Petrino out in North Carolina with Bill Belichick now. So yeah, don't touch Arkansas. If you get a better price, I may lean under here, under 4.5. But don't think the Ryan Silverfield era is going to last very long down in Arkansas. So that does it, folks. That's a wrap on the SEC. So just to recap, we only have 2 bets in the SEC. Got some win totals that we're eyeing up, looking for prices on. But we do have Georgia at plus 320 full unit to win this conference. And then we have half unit plus 1,300 on Oklahoma to make a run. And next week, we continue on. We got the Conference of Champions, the Big Ten Conference. Can't wait for that one. And 36 days, as I mentioned, until the start of college football season. We have a handful more preview stuff to do. We're going to sprinkle in some NFL previews as well. We love Sundays, Mondays. We love college and pro football. We're going to bet it all this fall, talk about it all. So we'll get into that here in a few weeks. Going to wrap up Big Ten. Going to jump into the group of 5. Pick our playoff contenders there. And last but not least, let's chat on X. Follow us on X at NTSports22. Posting our thoughts between the episodes. Post all of our plays and bets and rationale throughout the season. Give us a follow. Let's chat, interact, have a little fun over on the X platform. And then we also post all of our bets on the Action app. So Action Network app at NCSports22 if you want to follow us along there as well. And that'll do it, folks. Once again, thank you for joining us. And until next week, cheers.